All right, what is up, YouTube? I'm Cody here. We were with the top 8 Regalia player today. Top cut was 5 Nuba, 1 Royal, 1 ZTV, and 1 Brave. Thoughts?
Standard. Actually, pretty standard.
All right, well, give me a rundown of your matchups before we dig into this really quick.
Okay, so round 1, I played against Blasters. He seemed pretty new. I felt pretty bad for him. Like, turn 3, I had, like, a huge hand and just kind of blew him out. There's no early pressure. He was just out of resources. Next round, I played against one of your buddies, Christopher. He's playing Sharat. He crushed me game 1. He got like the super high roll from Sharat where you get like Repressor and the grade 1, and he just blowed me out. And in game 2, I ended up actually getting like my Skulls off my draw engine, got a big hand, and ended up getting 2 crits on Misspell. And game 3, he just got ground out by Nerva. Next match was No CL Geese. This deck eats that. It's not even hard. You go Verthandi, make big columns, and they're like, oh, I can't block anything. Then I played Robbie. Okay, like if you have to no guard Robbie at 4 and hope he doesn't hit a crit, you're dead. All right, just accept it.
It's fine.
Then I played against Brave. Brave was surprisingly threatening. I didn't expect it to be as quick as it was. It just completely demolished me in game 1, and then I ended up like being more prepared for it and trying to set up my draw engine before I fought them, and that allowed me to stabilize, and it was a lot better. I ended up taking games 2 and 3. Then it was finally Dominate. I practiced the matchup a lot. I played, God, I don't know how much Dominate, a lot of it. It was a matchup I was ready for, and I practiced against it a ton. Things just didn't work out.
But practice and application are 2 different things.
Like, I needed him to not hit a stand. He hit a stand. There was a lot, and there's nothing really I could have done. It happens. But yeah, that was my matchups today. We split top 8. There was no other games.
Where was round 7?
That was Nubatama's.
Oh, you played double Nuba?
No, hold on. I played Blasters, Blasters, Sharahat, No CL Geese,
Me,
Robbie, and that was my round 4 loss. Brave. I played another Gears.
Okay.
Yeah, that one I won.
Oh,
yeah.
How would you kill him?
He just died to Nerva. Like,
no.
It was the exact opposite of you. He did not get the crit at 4 damage.
All right, let's dig into this, shall we?
Okay, so this is Regalia. It's like the coolest deck in the game that's like not played. Shoutouts to Proof's Discord. They were the ones who told me to play this, and I said, sure, why not? This is your starter. She's like your enabler. Counterblast 1, shove her to soul, reveal the top 3 cards of your deck, shove a Regalia in. If you do shove a Regalia in, you draw a card.
I didn't think this card was real when I first read it.
Yeah, it's actually a really good starter, and I use it specifically against Nubatama. Technically, there's not a better starter for the clan, but against Nubatama, this allows you to make sure that you've got a card to rip out with Angelica, so you make sure there's chaff in the drop in case they're playing Biragi. And the trigger lineup I felt was really standard, right? You're going to like this, right? So we play 4 heal triggers because we're not bad, and it has Regalia in the name. Unlike last time, I played 3. We're not going to talk about that.
Yeah, Demiurge.
Yeah, Demiurge was a good deck. So we played this. It's just the counter charge or soul charge one. I almost always used it to soul charge because you don't need counterblast in this deck ever. And then, as any good player does, we filled the deck up with the yellow triggers. And this is actually the one that's different. So this one is the witch crit, and what it does is even if you're not a witch, you can just shuffle it back into the deck and then just get it back in the deck. So in a deck like this, where your main goal is to get Mommy Minerva to punch people and then check a crit on her, so she's giant with crit, you definitely need something that shuffles back into the deck.
Makes sense.
Came up a lot today. Nubatama would make me call it, and then I would just end up shuffling it back. It wasn't that bad. So then we'll go on to the grade 1s. Pretty standard. We play 4 of the Regalia Perfect card. What this card does is 1, it has Regalia in its name, 2, it looks gorgeous, and 3, when you Soulblast it, if you have a copy in your drop, you can bind 1 and add it to your hand.
This card is also bullshit.
This card's really good. It's a very, very, very strong PG. It's really underrated, and I got to use it like 7 times earlier today. It's pretty good. This is a point of contention as well, but I love this card. I would not cut it. So Claimer Harry, this is one of the only, this and the Witch Crit are the only 2 non-Regalias I play in the deck.
6?
Yeah, I play 6 non-Regalia. What this card does is when you Soul Blast, you can choose one of the cards that you Soul Blasted, no matter how many you did, put it on the bottom of your deck and countercharge 1. This is important because you get your triggers filled up in your soul, and normally they get stuck there and you can never get them back in. This helps you with that. This gets them back in.
Oh, okay.
I played 2 Expel Angel. Yep, 2 Expels. So Expel Angel is the 10k booster. She's basically Scald, but bad. But you still have to play her because she's better than the other Regalia cards. So she is return Act skill, return 3 normal Regalia units to the bottom of your deck. And if you have a face-up card, and she gets 3k. And then if you have a face-up card in your G-zone, you draw a card. So she basically just like puts 3 cards in your deck and draws you a card, literally for free every single turn. Like
I also thought this was ridiculous to play against.
Yeah, this card's pretty good. Stride Fodder, nothing special. It's just Regalia Stride Fodder, which I'm really glad they gave.
I see the card I hate next.
So this card, this is actually like the best card in the deck. So Scald, my girl, the waifu, what she does is at the end of your turn, literally is this. It is literally this card, except it's end of turn, which matters a lot more. So you normally only Soulblast 3 ever during your main phase, which makes this once per turn on average until really late game. Scalds trigger at the end phase, so when you Soulblast your 6 normal units from a Nerva, if you have 2 of these, you just straight up draw 2 cards.
Yeah, this was actually ridiculous for maintaining your draw engine against ZTB.
Yeah, like you get a huge hand and it soul charges. So it's you basically net 1 card in your deck and pull 2 out. So you get 1 card, you shove 3 in, you get 1 card that you draw, and then 1 goes to soul. So you end up basically maintaining 1 card plus in your deck.
And the broken thing about this is this doesn't require you to be face card in the G zone for this, right?
Yeah, this you can just use this right away. Like you can, if you just somehow get 3 normal units and drop at the end of your turn, you can just straight up draw a card.
Pretty fucking broken.
The grade 2 is pretty standard for what I would consider right now. So this is the main grade 2 of the deck. This is Freya. She has 2 really good skills. The second one's just kind of good, but the first one's amazing. Counterblast 1, when you place her on rear guard, when you have a grade 3 Regalia or greater, so you can do it as soon as you ride 3, which is where one of the strongest turns in the deck comes from. You can draw a card first, which is the first thing you do, and then you can take any 2 Regalia from drop, shove them into your soul. So just Counterblast 1, it's like the only thing you Counterblast for in this whole deck, and you just straight up plus off of it. Okay. And then her other effect is she gains 3k whenever your Vanguard attacks, which is relevant because you have a re-standard. 2 Biragi. I kind of think I'm going to up this to 3 and cut the next card down. She was super clutch all day. When you place her on rear guard, G-Breaks. This is like one of the only completely G-Break lock cards in the deck. You choose any 2 Regalia from drop, shove them into your soul, and for each one that you put in, she and your Vanguard gets 3k each. So it's a straight, she becomes a 15, she gives your Vanguard 6.
Oh, I see Hemoras.
No, these are Gunillas. Gunilla is an 11k attacker, just whenever, if you have a Regalia Vanguard, and at the end of the battle you make her use that effect, she just goes to your soul. Then her most powerful effect is when she's soul blasted, you can choose any unit on your board that's Regalia and give it 3k. So you use this to stack power up on, say, this to make it an 18, so you can multi-attack with it.
And last but not least,
and of course Noren. So Noren's there for like your deck's main cheese grade 3 ride turn, and it just helps Nerva hit magic numbers.
I know who's coming.
This card's actually just ridiculous. I don't play the Quintet wall, so I can't cheese people with it to try to gain a bunch of power on my opponent's turn, but I just use it to push, and that's really all you do. She's the best grade 2 ride in the deck if you have her. You can just throw her on the board and fight with her. If she dies, you don't care. You'll just get her back with like Iris or any of your G guards. You should play her if you're playing Regalia. And on to the grade 3s. So, first off, we play Angelica. This is literally, she straight up +1s you. Like, every turn, you straight up hard plus. So, on ride, take a normal unit that's Regalia, shove it in your soul, draw a card. Just whatever, just get a card. And then, if you stride her, if you stride a Regalia on top of her, counterblast 1, look at the top 4 cards of your deck, just put 1 card in your hand, you don't reveal it, your opponent literally has no clue what you just put in your hand, push 1 into soul, and drop the rest. So this helps fuel like every single card in the deck. This gives you the cards you need to use Biragi and Freya. You can use this to set up for literally like any play. If you're missing soul, this helps get you there.
And onto the cheese.
And now for the cheese. So if you ride this card, Verthandi, and you have a good hand, you can literally just like make your opponent sweat buckets all day. If you have a Noren, you can Soul Blast, she becomes 16 as soon as you ride. Your whole front row gets on hit, basically draw a card and Soul Charge 1. And it's really annoying to deal with. And then the effect that makes this good against Geese, when you stride on top of her, for the entire turn, your front row will gain +1 whenever you put a card into your soul.
Ooh.
So against decks like Geese, there's a deck that in the Stride deck, I'll just show you. So against decks like Geese, you can stride Earth, who takes every single Regalia unit in your drop zone and shoves it into your soul, and your front row gets super fat against decks like Geese, and they just can't deal with it.
I enjoyed this very much on his first grade 3 turn.
It's a very cool card. And onto the Strideback, we of course play 2 Earth. You can play 4. I just don't happen to own 4. 2's fine. It gets really big. If your opponent isn't a perfect guard, you literally hit them for unhealable damage. They lose. I've hit people with this for like 7 before. It just gets really fat. It's ridiculous. 1 GB8. I actually did win because I played this card today. Yeah, really crazy. So nobody even knows what this card does. Her effect is when she attacks, you can Soulblast any number of cards, any number. For every card that you Soulblast, you give every single unit on your board 2k. So you can get your board super big. And then if you Soulblast it, I think it's 3 or more?
Yeah.
Yep, if you Soulblast 3 or more, she gets another 10 and a crit. So your whole board just gets super swole, you just put everything into it and they just die. So, and she's a crit stride, you need plenty of those. I play 3 of this. This is something you could cut down for another Earth. Just a Regalia stride. She's just there to flip. She can draw you a card. She can countercharge. She gives everything on your board 4s. She's all right. You just play her because she's Regalia. And of course, we're playing Regalia, so we're playing the best stride in the game, in Nerva. I don't know what they were thinking with this card. The fact that like its main skill turns it on as an act is completely stupid. You can Soulblast your Norns and play Freya and shove them right back in. You can Soulblast PGs on attack and make your opponent have no clue that you're just adding PGs to your hand. You can just literally... She's a monster. The fact that she stands every single unit on your board after she attacks is just completely insane.
She takes commitment, though.
Yeah, she does require commitment. You have to have like a fair board. You don't want to have just garbage to play her, but you got to have at least some decent stuff. But, I mean, she gets big. There's plenty of times today I was swinging with this for like 50-something.
By waifu.
By waifu.
By waffle.
And then the rest of the deck is literally G-Guards. So, we play 2 of the Regalia G-Guard. It's good. It randomly gets like plus 15k shield sometimes. 2 Iris. This is what you can use to like bait people to kill your Norns and stuff. Just build your soul with it. 1 of this, so I use this to put like jank back in the deck, so if I think I'm going to need expels or I've lost too many normals, this is a really good card to get Claimer Harry back in the deck if they're gone and you need them. Saved me in the mirror match today. I actually played a mirror match today, and because I had Claimer Harry and this, I was able to stack 2 6 damage heals. And then 1 Hanatsuki. I used it 1 time. I probably wouldn't change the G-Guard lineup at all. It's pretty solid.
No Ultima?
No, I don't play an Ultima. Because I play 12 crit and I don't play any stands, it feels really...
No Sabreeze?
No. You just abuse people with Verthandi. Okay. So if people try to stick you, you've got Verthandi, you can draw cards with Freya, your Skull doesn't G-break, so you can end up getting really far ahead of people without even trying if they actually are just strictly sticking you or they're actually grade locked. Seabreeze takes 2 counterblasts from you that you're trying to save for Freya anyways. But yeah, that's the deck. It played really well. I was glad with it all day. I had no issues with it.
Any final comments?
Yeah, just again, thanks to Proof's Discord for convincing me to run this today, and my buddy Luke, he helped me do a lot of testing with this before I brought it in today. So yeah, I mean, and that deck went really well.
All right, sir. Thank you.